38 seconds. That is how long Kash Patel sat completely motionless after Ted Lieu pressed play on a small audio device sitting on the desk in front of him. Not the jaw tightening. Not the hand sliding to the table edge. Not the fractional shift in the chair that trained observers had learned to read across 15 months of hearings. Motionless. The way a person goes motionless when they hear something they believed was permanently gone, playing back through a congressional hearing speaker at 11:22 in the morning. 38 seconds of absolute silence. No movement. No sound. And when it ended, Patel said one word. One single word that told every person in that chamber, and every person watching, exactly what they needed to know. Watch this video until the very end. Because what Ted Lieu did this morning is unlike anything I have covered in 15 years of reporting on congressional oversight. This is not a document. This is not a memo. This is a voice. And if you are new here, subscribe right now and turn on notifications because the next 72 hours are going to move faster than anything this investigation has produced. Let me tell you who Ted Lieu actually is before we talk about what he walked into that room with. Most people know him as the congressman from California's 36th district. The one with the law degree from Georgetown and the computer science degree from Stanford. But the credential that matters for understanding this morning, the one he rarely leads with, is this: he is a veteran of the United States Air Force Judge Advocate General's Corps. A JAG officer. A military lawyer. For years, Lieu conducted interrogations and prosecuted cases in environments where the rules of evidence are absolute and procedural failure ends careers. He learned things in those rooms that civilian lawyers spend decades trying to approximate. He learned that the most powerful moment in any interrogation is not the question. It is the evidence the witness does not know you have. And he learned that you never reveal it until the witness has fully committed, on the record, under oath, to a version of events that the evidence will destroy. Lieu spent 7 weeks preparing for this morning. His staff was under strict instruction not to discuss what he was bringing. The device sitting on his desk when he took his seat, a standard digital audio player, had been logged into the chamber as a legislative research tool. No one on the Republican side knew what was on it. No one on Patel's legal team knew. No one in the press gallery knew. That is the thing about audio. You cannot redact it in advance if you do not know it exists. The hearing was House Judiciary Committee oversight. Room 2141 of the Rayburn House Office Building. 9:47 in the morning. Kash Patel had been at the witness table since 9:34, flanked by 2 attorneys. The first 90 minutes were familiar: immigration statistics, counterterrorism operations, budget requests. Republican members delivered pre-approved questions. Democratic members pressed on the Epstein files and the 23 terminated investigations. Patel deflected each one with the practiced ease of a man who had decided he would survive this the way he had survived every other one. At 11:19 a.m., Chairman Jordan recognized Lieu for his 5 minutes. Lieu stood. No folder. No document stack. Just the audio device, a single printed transcript page face down to his right, and the posture of a man who has been waiting 7 weeks for this exact moment. Director Patel, Lieu began, his voice carrying the controlled clinical tone that JAG officers develop from years of building prosecutorial records in environments where every word matters. I want to talk to you about a conversation. Specifically, I want to talk to you about a conversation you had on the 31st of January, 2025. 11 days after you became FBI director. He paused. Do you recall that date? Patel shifted fractionally in his seat. The small movement his body makes when a date lands with more weight than a date should land. I have conversations on many dates in the course of my duties. I would need more context to identify any specific exchange. I will give you context. Lieu picked up the transcript page still face down. On the 31st of January, 2025, at approximately 8:14 in the evening, you were inside the J. Edgar Hoover building. According to building security access logs, you were in a conference room on the 7th floor designated for director-level sensitive discussions. You remained in that room for 47 minutes. Do you have any recollection of that evening? Patel's right hand moved to the edge of the table. His senior attorney leaned in. Patel did not look at him. The specifics of internal discussions conducted in sensitive facilities are not something I can characterize in an open setting. I am not asking you to characterize the discussion. Lieu set the transcript page down. I am asking whether you recall being in that building, in that room, on that evening. Yes or no? 4 seconds of silence. I was in the building frequently during that period. I cannot confirm or deny the specific location you are describing. Lieu looked at Chairman Jordan. For the record, I am playing a 34-second audio recording obtained by my office through a confidential source and authenticated by 2 independent forensic audio analysts whose certifications have been submitted to this committee. The recording is dated January 31, 2025. Patel's lead attorney was on his feet immediately. Mr. Chairman, I must object to the introduction of any recording without prior disclosure to opposing counsel, and without an established chain of custody. Jordan cut him off before he finished the sentence. Congressman Lieu has submitted authentication documentation to this committee. The objection is noted and overruled. You may proceed, Congressman. Lieu pressed play. The audio was clear. No distortion. No background noise. The acoustic signature of a soundproofed room. And a voice that every person in that chamber recognized immediately, because they had heard it in every hearing for 15 months. Kash Patel's voice. Saying 7 words. Trump ordered me to bury it. All of it. Then Lieu pressed stop. 38 seconds. That is how long the chamber held that silence. 38 seconds during which Kash Patel sat at the witness table without moving, without speaking, without looking at his attorneys or at Lieu or at any of the cameras pointed directly at his face. His hands were flat on the table. His breathing was visible, shallow and rapid. The kind of breathing that happens when a body is processing something the mind has not yet caught up to. His face had not gone pale the way it goes pale in other hearings. It had gone entirely still. The stillness of someone who has heard the thing they have been afraid of hearing and is now simply waiting to find out what happens next. If you are still watching, hit the like button right now. Drop a comment below. Because what you just witnessed is the kind of moment that gets shown in law school classrooms for 20 years. A military prosecutor who knew exactly what he had, waited until his target was fully committed to a denial, then played the words back in his own voice. Director Patel. Lieu's voice carried the flat, steady authority of someone who was a JAG prosecutor before he was a politician. I am going to ask you one question. And I want you to think very carefully before you answer. Because you are under oath, and because everything you say in the next 30 seconds will be entered into the congressional record permanently. He looked directly at Patel. Is the voice on that recording your voice? Patel opened his mouth. Closed it. His senior attorney rose immediately. Congressman, my client cannot authenticate or respond to a recording of unknown provenance in a public setting without the opportunity to review the full context. Lieu turned to the attorney with the patience of a man who has managed 100 courtrooms. Counselor, I asked your client whether that is his voice. That is a yes or no question about something he has known his entire life. He turned back to Patel. Is that your voice, Director Patel? The silence that followed was different from the 38 seconds. This was the silence of calculation. If he says yes, he confirms the statement. If he says no, he claims the recording is fabricated, which means challenging 2 independent forensic certifications already before the committee. If he says nothing, the silence answers for him in every clip that will air in the next 72 hours. I am not going to comment on the authenticity of a recording I have not had the opportunity to review with counsel in an appropriate setting. Lieu let that answer sit in the air for exactly 3 seconds. Then he picked up the face-down transcript page and turned it over. A certified transcript of the 34-second recording. Authenticated by the same 2 forensic analysts. At the bottom, a timestamp, a date stamp, and a room identifier corresponding to Conference Room 7C of the J. Edgar Hoover Building. The room you just told this committee you cannot confirm or deny being in on January 31st. He paused. The recording was made in a room you cannot remember, in a building you were in constantly, on a date that moved your hand to the edge of this table the moment I mentioned it. He looked at Patel with the expression of a military prosecutor who has placed the evidence in front of the jury, and is now letting the jury do its work. Director Patel, I am going to ask you one final question. This recording has been submitted to the DOJ Inspector General, the FBI Office of Professional Responsibility, and the Senate Intelligence Committee as of this morning. He paused again. 7 words. Trump ordered me to bury it. If those 7 words are your words, spoken in an FBI facility, 11 days into your tenure, then every congressional testimony you have given about independent judgment, about decisions free from political pressure, about the FBI operating without executive branch interference, every word of that testimony is a lie told under oath. The chamber was absolutely silent. On the evening of January 31, 2025, did someone from the Trump administration order you to bury the Epstein investigation? Patel's lead attorney rose. Congressman, at this time, my client invokes his Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination and will not answer that question or any subsequent questions derived from the recording you have introduced. Lieu nodded once. Slowly. He looked at the cameras. The FBI director just invoked the Fifth Amendment in response to a question about whether he was ordered to bury the Epstein investigation. He let that land. He could have said no. He has been saying no, in various bureaucratic constructions, for 15 months. Today, when I played 7 words in his own voice, he invoked the fifth. He closed the transcript. The American people can draw their own conclusions. He looked at Chairman Jordan. I have no further questions. But I do have a formal request. I am requesting that this committee subpoena the complete 47-minute audio record of the January 31st conference room session, all communications between Director Patel and any member of the executive branch during his first 30 days in office, and all documents related to any directive issued by Director Patel regarding the Epstein investigation within 72 hours of January 31st, 2025. The gavel came down. The hearing technically continued. No one was listening. Within 11 minutes, the 7 words were everywhere. Clipped. Looped. Captioned. Shared across every platform. By the time the session ended, the hashtag had reached 4.1 million uses. Legal experts on every network said the same thing. You do not take the fifth in response to a recording unless the words are yours. A denial costs nothing. The fifth costs everything. By evening, both forensic analysts had given their certifications on camera. Spectral analysis. Voice-print comparison. The recording had not been altered, compressed, or synthesized. It was Kash Patel's voice. January 31, 2025. A 7th-floor FBI headquarters conference room. 7 words spoken 11 days into his tenure as director of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Ted Lieu walked into room 2141 this morning with a device that fit in his jacket pocket, and 7 words that no bureaucratic deflection, no executive privilege claim, no attorney's objection could undo once they played through a congressional hearing speaker. He did not need a manila folder or a classified document with a red stripe. He needed 34 seconds of audio. And 38 seconds of silence after it. Trump ordered me to bury it. The FBI director could not deny it. His own Fifth Amendment confirmed it. And the investigation someone told him to bury is now the subject of 3 simultaneous Inspector General referrals, a Senate subpoena request, and a congressional record that will exist long after everyone in that room has left public life. Subscribe right now because the subpoena vote is scheduled for 48 hours from now. Share this everywhere. 7 words. 38 seconds of silence. And a Fifth Amendment that answered the question Patel refused to answer himself.